So my number 3 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, number 3. I mean, they've gotten younger. They've taken a slight hit this offseason roster-wise. And I think it's close at the top. I put the Bills ahead of them, obviously, at number 2, and a mystery team at number 1. We don't know yet. We don't know. But yeah, I think the Eagles being here because they've lost 3 starters this offseason and replaced them with some promising young players, but more question marks here. So that's a big part of it for me. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, they're out. How are we going to replace those guys? Is it Jahad Campbell, the first-round pick, rushing off the edge potentially? Jalen Hunt, who we have as a breakout player, who did kind of break out in the playoff run last year. Moro Ajomo up front, replacing the Milton Williams production. But those are on paper steps back for Philadelphia, so that needs to be factored in. You've got right guard Mekhi Becton moving on, and once again, last summer, we weren't saying, "Hey, what's that?"
4 starters then.
Who did I miss?
Darius Slay.
Oh, and Darius Slay. Yeah, and Adoree Jackson. I mean, I'm a Adoree Jackson fan, but he comes in and probably fills some of those spots. So yeah, that's why they're here for me. They still have one of the better rosters, but each one of those spots, right? Like last summer, we weren't saying, "Hey, Mekhi Becton's going to be great." We were like, "Hey, it's a nice buy low and nice reclamation project," and he was. I mean, he had a really nice season. Playing right next to Lane Johnson, helping that run game, bringing some big time blocks to the table. But you've got a question there if it's Tyler Steen or Matt Pryor, working to fill in there. So those are my questions. I mean, the good. Why are they here though? I mean, that's why they're at 3, Sam. Right? I'm coming at it from the negative sense. Why are they here? They've got the quarterback as well with Jalen Hurts. They have Saquon Barkley, MVP candidate last year. They've got the 1-2 punch of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Despite losing Mekhi Becton, they've got 4 really good starters on the offensive line, including the best tackle tandem in the NFL, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. They still have very good defensive line depth. And their secondary was a question, right? It was an unknown, we'll say, going into last year. And Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean showed, hey, they could play right away as rookies. So the depth across the roster is excellent. They're still strong in the places where they like to be strong, which is the trenches. There's just a few more unknowns on this roster than there were over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean they've leaned into some of the young players and they're relying on that depth stepping up and now assuming a bigger role, but they've done that for a while. I think this is still the best roster in the NFL. They're number 1 on my list. Top to bottom, I think this is still a fantastic roster with a ton of depth still. Even if you're, relying on guys like Moro Ajomo to step up and have a bigger role, Jalen Hunt to step up and have a bigger role. I mean, I think those guys have already shown that they're able to do that, and maybe there'll be a down or a step down from Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, but I wouldn't be expecting a big drop off. I think bringing in guys like Josh Uche, he's been prior in his NFL career, he's been a really useful situational pass rusher. I kind of anticipate him being paired with Vic Fangio suddenly having a career resurgence. Like if Josh Uche suddenly looks like a really impressive rotational body on this defensive line, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. They've got a couple of guys like that who are, I think we're sort of ignoring for reasons that they've been relatively disappointing in previous stops in their career. But within this defense specifically, with the role that they'll have, with the rotation that they'll have, and with Vic Fangio, may see a massive jump forward in reputation and how good we think they are. So I think that defensive line is still really good with incredible depth. Now you've got linebacker secondary in incredible shape. Like linebacker, so they did lose some starters. They did, however, bring back Zack Baun. You've still got Nakobe Dean. You've still got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. They've drafted more linebackers as well. Like the linebacker depth for the Eagles is insane for a team that we keep hearing about. The Eagles don't really care about linebacker. They don't prioritize that. Suddenly they've got like the best linebacker depth in the NFL.
Well, it depends on what they really think of Jahad Campbell, if he is playing linebacker or if they do actually want him dabbling as an edge rusher.
Yeah, and then you're right. The X factor of what exactly Jahad Campbell is going to be within this defense, what his deployment is going to look like, And they came back later in the draft and drafted my anagram, Smale Mondon Jr. So
I guess
like
it's Smile. I guess it's Smile.
But you got linebacker depth. Genuinely, the Eagles, for a team where everyone, the Eagles don't care about linebackers. Show me a better linebacker depth chart than what the Eagles have right now.
It's a good point. I mean, look, it's an excellent roster, Sam. Andrew Nakobe probably steps in, playing safety next to Ed Reed Blankenship there, but he's a rookie. So you've got a couple more unknowns on this roster than you've had.
But unlike a couple of other teams where you're saying, okay, what happens if he doesn't work out as the starter as a rookie starter in the secondary, like who's the next guy? So if Maxwell Hairston doesn't play well for Buffalo, suddenly you're turning to Tre'Davious White, who was previously a great cornerback, but right now looks like he can't really play in the NFL, right? If Nakobe can't play, I have no problem with Sidney Brown being the starter and being fine, right? Like that. I think the Eagles are better insulated for the players that they do have to rely on than some of these other teams.
Yeah. So they're your number one, right? I mean, it was tough to separate these.
No, we're splitting hairs with any top 5 roster in the NFL. They're all good.
The one thing I'll say, because we'll get to your number 2 in a minute here, of the teams we've listed, I mentioned the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens in my top 5. I think they clearly have a quarterback advantage as well. And then player by player, I think they're all very good rosters. The Eagles and then the other team you're about to mention here, I would argue, I'm not trying to offend Eagles fans here, but I think we'd all agree that Jalen Hurts is probably a step down from Mahomes, Jackson, Lamar, and Allen. Insert quote about Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 straight Super Bowls. Yes, true. Absolutely. We're talking 17 game schedule plus playoffs here, right? So the job that Howie Roseman has done in Philadelphia to build this depth around a good, not top 4 quarterback and Jalen Hurts and be able to win the Super Bowl, I think, that shows how good of a job they've done. And then the next team you're going to mention here, no offense to their quarterback, but he's not as good as everyone else. So the depth that you build and the star power that you build around that quarterback to be as good as you are, that just shows how great the front offices have been.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.